the main thing here that most of the entrepreneurs, and I can call it, most of the people that are starting their own businesses, or because I'm not sure that like the library is like the business, but it can be like the business. They are trying to, the main problem here is the data storage. The same thing when your goods are storage also. Easy example, some of the people like using like the AI note taker. Some of them prefer like they're doing some notes in their notebooks. I have this stuff also, but I'm the big fan of all of this, AI technologies, and yeah, and somehow we can call it like the old school. Okay, I can use it, for example, typing like the phone number because it's easy for me or faster for me. For example, if there will be something for the financial technologies that might be useful for the farmers, we will say them that it might be useful, and we will just explain how it might work for them and how it works, for example, for the traders, and now it might work for the farmers. Different worlds, but the challenges might be very similar and might be the same. For example, if there will be something for the financial technologies that might be useful for the farmers.
All right, I'm so excited because today I have Roman from Quantum Mobile, and he is one of our new friends from Ukraine, now currently based in Poland.
Yeah, so we are traveling between Poland and Ukraine, but now in the western part of the Ukraine, near the border with Poland.
Okay, nice. Not that it's any of my business, but is it more calm there than it sounds, or is it still crazy?
Yeah, but the problem is it's to become very usual for the Ukrainian guys to work in the such can say atmosphere, but everything is fine as much as can be in Ukraine.
Awesome. Good for you. The hopefully things settle down. I know Trump was trying to broker some peace, but I don't know how successful he's been with that. From what I can see, not particularly.
We have a lot of promises. It's like the air around in your room, but let's see what might works really. But I'm like the very straightforward person, so trying to filter all of this stuff and trying to make my vision and mindset and ideas more concrete in terms of with the humans with whom we are speaking and the information that I consume. So let's see how it will works, but I think that we have enough time, to make some conclusions and to do some actionable steps. The time for the actions, and the only thing that we have is to make sure that it will works as soon as possible, because it's not like the time or the situation that I expected to have on my 26. Yeah.
As a young man, you've seen a lot of stuff. That's too bad and interesting at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah.
We were talking about your company, Quantum Mobile, and you have some very interesting AI mixed with real technology. Would you call them IoT, or would you call it something more interesting?
I can call it data science center of excellence, and because of the thing that we are doing here, it's not like as I mentioned, the typical software engineering or the software development, and rather doing some in the software development, we can call it like the rocket science across like the technology by utilizing some high-tech systems, and of course like the IoT where it's really needed. But most of the stuff is really trying to optimize where we can do this by using like the technology and highly qualified developers and engineers in this field.
That's cool. I've seen just occasionally on the news how successful you guys have been with your drone technologies, and I'm assuming a lot of that is because you're integrating AI into it, or is it just the algorithms you guys are making are just that darn good?
I can call it, from the perspective of it's not doing the hype things right now across like the AI. It's rather because I'm not sure that we already investigated around 5% or 10% of the AI capabilities and LLM capabilities. I think that we have plenty to do with these technologies. But about the drone tech, it's really useful for different spaces and different, I can call it industries and domains. Starting from the around like the situation and the war where you're using like the drones, and ending with the agriculture technology or precision farming, to make sure that you are having the plenty information and you are utilizing this in the right way, so you can use for the good things and for the bad things at the same time. But
Yeah, let's not judge who's good at what's good and bad in this one.
Yeah.
But obviously, I know the farmers, we were talking to them beforehand. I'm sure the farmers appreciate that their equipment is lasting longer and not breaking so much, thanks to you guys showing them how to avoid rocks and things that are going to make their day terrible.
Exactly. In Canada, it was in Canada. We deployed the onboard cameras on harvesters to detect rocks on the field during the spring season, because usually visual makers or all of this stuff, they need to understand, because it causes a lot of damage for the tractors and all of this stuff. And when you have like the John Deere, which is called like the 1 million, you need to make sure that everything will work tomorrow, because when the hot season starts, you need to have 100% capacity of all of your technique. So we map like the rock location after every rain, simple but effective, protects the harvester hardware from expensive damage, very expensive damage. So yeah.
Are you guys using drones overhead to do that, or are you putting it on the tractor itself?
Yeah, so we're using the cameras, where we're putting all of these cameras into the tractors, and they can easily identify all of these rocks, and also share these images and videos to the system, to the cloud, where we can identify it, to work with this data. And after that, the specialized tractor are going and taking this from this land.
So that's cool. Like I remember when we connected GPS to tractors, and they could just go, and the person could almost fall asleep while they're doing it. But I don't think I ever really thought about, okay, cool. Normally a guy will avoid rocks. Will the GPS avoid rocks or not?
Yeah, of course. And when, for example, the project where we also work called like the C3 is mostly to understand the health and the situation across the fields when you have a lot of plants, and you need to understand when like the empty spaces, and when you need to to put more seeds or something like this, or trees, for example, to fulfill these spaces, and to understand like the health of these trees, and to understand like the generally like the situation across your lands, because some of the guys have like the thousands of hectares of these lands, and it's really hard and expensive to have the specialized person who will be taking like the salary, who also need to have some vehicle to go around all of these fields, and to make this manually, and so it's really hard. But with utilizing the right models and estimation models through the artificial intelligence and the drone technology, you can easily do this. So because of the capacity, because of the technology and experience, I can say each of these projects are very different, but at the same time we are answering like the simple questions, and everything starts from the how to ask something simple and to get as much as possible information from these simple questions.
That's the right question is always the hardest thing to find in my world. But you guys are learning a lot from from the military application and bringing it into the commercial world. Obviously, you guys had a couple of years of experience that nobody else has, or very few have. Have you found that's really accelerated the things you guys would be able to do versus some other data scientists?
I think that the main idea of our team, that we put together like the Kaggle Grant Masters and Masters that are taking the top 1,000 on the world in the one place, where we can help them to give them more opportunities to investigate more complex solutions and more complex questions, where they can utilize their knowledge. And I can say that we are only specializing on the military tech, but we are trying to use our experience in different areas. And for example, if there will be something for the financial technologies might be useful for the farmers, we will say them that it might be useful, and we will just explain how it might work for them and how it works, for example, for the traders, and now it might work for the farmers. Different worlds, but you know, the challenges might be very similar and might be the same.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine looking for buried mines and looking for rocks. It's got to be way easier to find a rock than it is to find some of the other trouble that we're looking for. And of course, there's 2 years experience for that now. What's okay? So say, coming back to like finding that better question. Say I'm in just a random field. Say I'm first thing comes to mind is a librarian. Okay, say I'm a librarian. Right. I'm in the library. I'm in like a major city. There's like kids destroying books. And it's okay because we know kids are kids. There's people that throwing stuff all over the place. And I'm thinking to myself, there's got to be a better way to service this big library of commerce or whatever, right? What questions should they be asking, or what questions would you be asking yourself to say, how can we take what we've learned with data and AI to work in this industry, which is totally unrelated to, things even outside in the world, but still there's recognition, there's patterns. What are your thoughts?
In this simple case, I can call it, the main thing here that most of the entrepreneurs, and I can call it, most of the people that are starting their own businesses, or because I'm not sure that like the library is like the business, but it can be like the business. They are trying to, the main problem here is the data storage. The same thing when your goods are storage also. And you are paying, for example, for the rent. And but for example, if we can put it on online, and we will store them in the one place, and we can easily, make like the shipment for the people who are looking for some books. It might be easier because you don't need to pay the rent for the library. But again, a lot of businesses are mostly, trying to be like the old school or have their own vibe. So you need to think about these parts to be innovative and to be useful for the people that use it before you come with your new technologies. So every time you are trying to balance between all of this stuff, make this comfortable for using, and but more efficient from the I can call it from the financial story or financial side or investment story. I think that from the library we can also find out some innovation solutions, how to utilize like the robots, and you don't need to spend hours for finding like the right book. But for example, let's say I'm coming to the library. It might not the first time in this library, but I don't want to read. But for example, if I will write like to the chat bot, could you please recommend some of the interesting books that might be interesting for me specifically, they can go to the data and find out about the historical data about what I learned before and what I read before, and suggest for me some relevant information or some relevant book. So this is how we can be useful for the different businesses, trying to use their data in the right way and to make people life easier. I can call it like this.
Yeah, similar as you're trying to make the life easier for farmers. Obviously, agriculture is an interesting one because they have already very developed technology, already very defined process, focuses on efficiency. Everything is precision in a lot of ways for farming now, I guess, including the cycles and crops and everything. If your tractor is down for 2 days during the harvest season, it's got to be terrible, especially when some equipment is used for maybe mini farms or huge farms.
Exactly.
Go for
it. The interesting thing also is not only like this different industry, but also the healthcare sector, because of the
I was about to ask.
This is very interesting because a lot of new problem with the health are appearing every day, and there are a lot of the things that we can do, for example, for the healthcare solution or med tech solutions, utilizing the computer vision, for example, to understand the health issues with the, for example, with the cows, or at the same time, we can do this with the people to make sure that we can prevent something. Because the main idea here is not to solve this, maybe, because there are not the solution for each of the case, but the main idea of the medicine, I think it's my personal opinion, is to prevent this, or understand on the early stage that we have some problems with the health. And so this is very interesting how AI also helping like the humans, to understand, make some self-diagnosis also in the home, using some home kits or all of this stuff, to make sure that everything is fine, because you are calm when you know that everything is fine with your health. And when AI can call it to you with some 99% of accuracy, you will be calm and everything will be fine and your day will be cool.
It brings me back. When I was a kid, I used to watch Star Trek, and they used to have these med beds, right? And it's kind of funny because every once in a while you hear rumors coming around. They're like, yeah, med beds are coming. But maybe they're really a version of that is coming, where for diagnostics. What do you think? Like, do you think soon? Like, obviously we have rings and all kinds of stuff to monitor our health and ways that we never had before. You can just wear them. But where do you see this technology going? Do you see it developing rapidly?
I think that we started with the simple things. And the simple things, what I mean by the simple things, it's easily, for example, for hand washing system that can analyze if you wash your hands pretty good or no. And it's also important because because you need to understand, maybe I need to spend more than 10 seconds for washing my hands, or everything is fine with this. And I think that it's moving forward rapidly because of the feedback of the people that are trying to utilize them. I'm not sure that we have a lot of people that can do the experiments on themselves by using all of this stuff. But every day I see more and more motivated person that would like to take the part in this investigation and somehow help and understand how it can be helpful. For example, as I mentioned, the project to prevent like the epilepsy is very interesting, because it's hard to prevent, it's hard to understand what it might happen, and it's really interesting to understand, for example, when you come to your doctor and they need to make like the new investigation, or could they easily type Roman Haiduk to the chat bot and they can send him my last 3 months analysis and all of this stuff. And they don't need to, to spend hours and time and asking me a lot of the questions that I already made by, spending my time of doing this, these things and all of this stuff. It's very interesting because from somehow we are trying to, save some time of the people that, and again, it's also the optimization part where it's really needed. But I'm not sure that we will replace like the people, and there are a lot of talks around this topic that we will replace the people and all of this stuff. I think that the main problem here that if you would like to be in the trend, you need to investigate how you can optimize your work to make sure that it's as much as efficient as possible by using. So don't hesitate, to ask the stupid question can be on the AI. You need to understand everything, and I think that you will find out very interesting stories for your own domain where you are working. For example, in the farm industry or on the rocket science industry, I can call it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. To like whatever industry you're in, go to your chatbot, and if you're scared to ask a person like yourself or myself this kind of question, go to the chatbot. Nobody's watching that. So you can ask these kind of questions, give the case. Hey, I'm Phil, I'm a programmer. I'm Roman, I'm a data scientist, right? How do I bring in AI to my life and to get better performance or better lifestyle or something? And you might be surprised what you get. I'm often surprised with what gets back to me.
Easy example, some of the people like using like the AI note taker. Some of them prefer like they're doing some notes in their notebooks. I have this stuff also,
Yep.
but
Yep.
I'm the big fan of all of this, AI technologies, and yeah, and somehow we can call it like the old school. Okay, I can use it, for example, typing like the phone number because it's easy for me or faster for me. But
Uh-huh.
I'm the big fan of all of these note takers, and I like it.
Hmm.
I see how they are progressing, how they are doing some task management solutions, and at least like the giving like the task for all of the participants of this meeting. It's really
Hmm.
cool, and definitely save a lot of time, when you are making some report after the meeting, especially when you have more than 1 hour meeting. It's very necessary because it's
Hmm.
the human story. You can lose something, you can forget about something. With this part, it's very useful for the people who are spending hours on the meetings.
Oh yeah, well, it's almost critical. I use my pen as a bit of a mind map rather than trying to record the notes of the call and just be more present. So for me, I try not to doodle, even though I still do some as I look at my notes. But uh, after my meetings, I will often, especially when it's critical and kind of heavy topics, I'll go back through and I'll have it summarized for me. I'll bounce my thoughts off of it, and even before I talk to my team to bring down what I think is a critical concepts, I will have it critique my concept and work around. Now it's not 100% like what I think is the most important, but sometimes it's a really good devil's advocate or co-pilot.
Exactly. And for example, it can be also the stories when you already made some meeting, and you would like to make some self analysis, how it was good or not. For example, if I have some mentors for the sales or something like this, and I have all of this knowledge base, I can share with like the chat bot, and I can also
Hmm.
after that share my meeting notes or some scripts, and after that say that if I will be like the Joe Biden, how it will be. For example, imagine that you are like the Joe Biden, and for example, how it will be if you will participate instead of Roman in this meeting. It's really interesting to see how it works
Uh-huh.
because it's really personalized, very personalized, and it's really fun.
Yep.
Because you're investigating some new parts of the communication, some new patterns and some new insights, and it's really interesting
Hmm.
because it's the self-development, and you can be more proactive in terms where you haven't had the chance to investigate just like the time problem or something like this.
I think that's great. You could pick your mentor and have it have it kind of simulate that learning experience. Have a personal mentor from your hero in the AI world. Good job. It's a good one.
Everything I just mentioned is already built and running. The problem is that the data and the use cases that you would like to investigate. And I think that the tendency will be that people will find it more and more interesting, to see some new and know-how ideas because of the lack of the insights. And
Hmm.
but we see we become more dependent on the information field, trying to get it more and more and more and more. So my main I just care about how it will be in the few years, and if I
Uh-huh.
will get not the right answers that I want to get,
Hmm.
how I will feeling. So it's very 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 interesting, and
Where's it going to go? As the
yeah.
context window gets larger, so does the chance for errors or misdirection and just kind of insanity. I think you need to keep yourself in mind as you're going through this and say, hey, do I agree with this? Continue being critical, not to over rely on any kind of LLM right now, at least.
The first lesson that I get from the using the AI is the knowledge of how to ask the right questions. And it's really interesting knowledge and very necessary knowledge nowadays, because
Mhm.
if you would like to get the concrete answer, you need to ask the concrete question. And
Mhm.
but you will have like the generic answer if you will say what like the some generic question. So you need to give more context so the participant or another person with whom you are communicating will exactly understand what you would like to get And I think that this is the first lesson that all of the users of the AI or chatbots get when they try to use it, because I don't want like such generic, don't be stupid or something
Yeah.
this,
Uh-huh.
So, and they are thinking, okay, how I can get like the more accurate answers to my questions. So maybe I need to give more information, more context, and it works. And
Uh-huh.
they are duplicating this experience into the real world. And with whom I spoke, for example, 5 years ago, and now I'm speaking with them, this is really different people, because they spend a lot of time of using this technology and investigating a lot of interesting stuff.
Absolutely. Roman, we're coming up to your time limit. Do you have more time, or do you want to wrap it up here with a couple more quick
I think
questions?
that I have around 5 minutes, so I think that if it's okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wanted to make sure we stay on time, respect your schedule.
Awesome.
The let me ask you this then, right? If you're a manufacturing plant, right? You're supervising a plant, you're producing whatever technology, and you're trying to figure out how you could use AI or machine learning technologies, or even just statistical technologies. How would you go about it nowadays? Like, how would you recommend somebody who's coming to you to prepare for that conversation?
I think that's keep it simple. So the all of the manufacturers and all of these such businesses, they have very similar problems. For example, with the safety and security, all of this stuff, because of when you go to the manufacturer, you see a lot of these big machines, and you need to make sure that all of these workers are on the safety plates. So how to prevent all of these damages to the humans? You need to make some safety zones for all of this stuff, and it's really possible to do with the AI, and make some signals for the humans that be aware, because the big machine is coming through the space, so be aware, stop this.
Uh-huh.
It's really simple, and AI can be definitely helpful from this, because you are grabbing this information, and you can, for example, utilize some free space or available space on your manufacturer in more tailored way, but you haven't had this before. So I
Uh-huh.
think that if someone in the manufacturer field would like to, because they are asking some questions like that, I need to optimize, and you need to
Yep.
think about how to make this optimization. We will help
Uh-huh.
them to find like the solution for this optimization. So this is not like that the problem. Just keep the question simple as it is, and we will find a way how to use AI in your exact case.
Sounds good. I think that's a good approach. Just take it there, start talking, asking those questions, and be creative, be open-minded. You'd be surprised what you can come up with. Awesome. Roman, any last words?
Everything is fine, I guess. Like we on the right place and the right time right now with all of this, AI and LLM things. So I guess that we will find a lot of interesting stories around this, and it's not like I get it's just like maybe like the 5% of all this story. So we have a lot of to do, a plenty of work.
Yeah, I think we're living in exciting times, and we're in for a ride. So, real pleasure to meet you today. Thank you so much. And
Likewise.
thank you. Just everybody listening, I'm going to throw this guy's contacts in the description, so look for him there. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, man.
Thank you.